everyone, and welcome back to Anne's Family Recipe. Today I am sharing an incredible appetizer recipe for you to try, sun-dried tomato and basil roll-ups. I'm starting by making the filling, so I'm using 1 8-ounce brick of softened cream cheese in a large mixing bowl, and then to that I'm adding 2 cloves of minced garlic. Now my garlic cloves were gigantic, and my roll-ups ended having quite the garlicky kick, so if you have large garlic cloves, 1 would be plenty here. If they're small, you could go for 2. Next, the recipe calls for 1/3 cup of chopped frozen spinach. So I probably grabbed about a cup out of the bag and then heated it in the microwave for a couple minutes so I could break it apart. And then I allowed that to cool a little bit and then put it in between a couple of paper towels. And then I squeezed out all of the extra liquid. You always want to do this when you're working with thawed frozen spinach because you don't want all of that extra water to go into your dip or whatever you're making. It'll just be too much moisture in there. So you can see a lot comes out. And once I had squeezed out the spinach, there was about, I would say 1/3 to 1/2 cup of spinach there. So it worked out just fine. Next is 1/2 cup of sun-dried tomatoes. I bought these that are already pre-cut, so all I had to do was pat some of the oil off of them so it wasn't too greasy of an addition into the mixture. But if you buy them whole, just dab them off and then chop them up into slightly smaller pieces, and then you incorporate those into the cream cheese mixture. Lastly, I added some shredded Parmesan cheese. The recipe calls for 1/4 cup. I think I did a little bit more than that, but more is more with this dip. It has incredible flavor. I grabbed a small rubber spatula. You could also use a metal spoon here just to work this all together. It is key that the cream cheese is soft so that everything can incorporate easily. The recipe calls for 20 leaves of fresh basil. I just bought 1 package. I'm not exactly sure how many leaves were in there, but I rinsed and dried it and then chopped it up into a bowl so that I could sprinkle it inside each of my roll-ups. I used these medium flour tortillas, so I ended up making 4 roll-ups and then slicing them. If you have the large, I think they're burrito size tortillas, you would only need 2. I put 1/4 of my cream cheese mixture onto the surface of each tortilla, sprinkled it with a little handful of the fresh basil, and then rolled it up as tightly as I could. And then I wrapped each of these tortillas in plastic wrap and twisted the end so it was pretty tight. And then I put them in the refrigerator for a couple of hours so all the flavors could kind of meld together, and the tortilla will soften slightly too, just from the moisture inside of it. So after a couple of hours in the refrigerator, I unrolled each wrap and sliced them evenly into, I think, 8 rounds. First of all, I was thinking that I wanted to cut off both of the ends to make them look a little bit neater, but then I kind of abandoned that option because it all tastes good, so I didn't want to waste anything. And yes, so I cut it in the middle and then cut those halves in half, and then cut those halves in half again, just so they would be even. So once I did this once, I kind of knew how wide I should make each of my little roll-ups as I sliced them. And then I just placed them in rows onto a platter. Now, this recipe I did make for a Christmas Eve party, so I was drawn to the red and green color. I just thought that was festive, but truly you could make this year-round. It has amazing flavor. It kind of tastes like pizza, like a cold pizza. Multiple people at the party asked me to send them the recipe, so it was truly a crowd-pleasing hit. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, and everyone can give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I'll see you again soon.